The Internet 3.0, the blockchain. Are we still going to sit back and watch like the voucher that says, when the rain stops, I'll build my house, and never build the house? I think it's a time for Africa. There hasn't been any technology that has favored Africa than the blockchain. Why? Because it is proven that Africa has the lowest financial inclusion in the world, the least. Also, it's also proven that Africa has most of its economy being closed. Most African countries bank on the US dollar, and therefore, when the dollar begins to have some stability, our currency shrinks. And so Africa possesses the greater opportunity in the blockchain than the Asians, the Europeans, the Americans. But guess what? The past 9 years, a lot of young people in Africa have known about blockchain, but all we are doing is just consuming again. Thank God for people like John, and thank God for people, wonderful ladies in Azuri, trying to use what they call education for people to understand that we cannot continue to pretend about these things. I was happy when Professor was talking about the early adopters, the innovators, they are about 2.5%. The early adopters, about 25%. The early majority, about 27% also. And then the late majority and the laggards. Africa, most time, we play the laggard role. So we only end up consuming. The question here is, what is the strategy of Africa using blockchain to solve our own problems? Because we have a lot of problems, we have opportunities, we have solutions. There's money also in the blockchain. It's not wrong to create wealth in Africa. It's not wrong. I'm a Christian, and I think that wealth creation is good. Because there was no poor man in those days serving God. If Solomon was a poor man, there's no way he could slaughter 1,000 cattle. If Abraham was a poor man, there's no way he could sacrifice for God to bless him. So there's nothing wrong to be wealthy. But you know what? In Africa, we think that religion is all about criticizing technology. So in the internet era, there were churches who prayed against internet, that it was demonic. So people shouldn't use it. But today, churches are using the internet to reach out of God's gospel. It's the knowledge of the technology. It's not how much you doubt technology. It's how fast your swiftness to adopt it. Position yourself. Hence, Bill Gates positioned himself when internet started and created Microsoft. He never created the ATM cards we have today, but almost 80% of ATM machines run on the Microsoft software, if not all. And even if he's making a cent, you can imagine the number game. So the blockchain, what is the plan for QubitX? QubitX has done a series of research. Some of us, we bend our fingers and we are burning inside our hearts. That's blockchain and exchange. Like they mentioned about stock exchange, John mentioned that if you want to buy even Facebook stock in 2012, we didn't even know about it. The knowledge about stock exchange is so kind of elite, kind of, it's a court. So the knowledge about it is lacking. Blockchain has come to eliminate all these third parties, and therefore there's a use case in the blockchain by way of interacting with the end user. You may not you may not understand blockchain, but at least you know how to make money in your pocket, right? For me, that's where my interest is. It's about the cash. Let the techie guys use their brain. We are interested in where the money will come to our pocket. That's the most important thing. At the end of the day, if you do all the good thing and money is not in the pocket, your language is small and your influence is small. And so now let's think about creating what? We can use the blockchain to interact with the end user, the cocoa farmer in Ghana, the mango seller in Zimbabwe, the tomato seller in Kenya, the apple seller in South Africa, and the cattle seller in Botswana. Use the blockchain through an exchange. How do we do that? We have more than 100 exchanges in the world today. In 2017, there was a research conducted by Cambridge. That information is there. I will give to Azuri, they will share to everybody. They wanted to find out how many use cases are on the blockchain. Their interests were wallet created, exchanges, mining farms, cryptocurrencies, blockchain solutions. For me, my interest is on the exchanges. They found out that exchanges in the world, 37% were in Europe. 37% was found to be in Europe. 27% was found to be in Asia Pacific. 18% was found to be in North America, US and Canada. Then 14% Southern America. The sad part is, I cried, only 4% Africa and Middle East. But guess what? Cryptocurrency and blockchain adoption, especially the cryptocurrency, that's where the money is. Adoption in Africa is larger than adoption in US and Europe. So it means that we are still going to play the consumption factor. So we are giving our money back to Europe, America, and Asia. Is that good? It's sad. A lot of you are trading on Binance, Bittrex, Poloniex. Do you know the owners of these companies? Let's begin to act like Jewish. Who knows about their strategy, the Jewish strategy? The Jewish trade among themselves. Their money circulate among themselves 7 times before it goes outside. While in Africa, we are eager, ready to give our money out before we look inward. Should we have a strategy that, look, let's build for Africa by Africans, owned by Africa? Is it wrong to do that? It's not wrong to do that. Africa is the only continent that is not saturated. So everybody, the Europeans know this, the Americans know this, the Asians know this, especially the Asians. For me, in fact, matter of fact, let me be biased. I prefer the Europeans and Americans to even take care of Africa. The Chinese, the West is about to happen to Africa if you don't rise up. These guys are very mean. Let me be very frank here. You can go to on air, I don't care. It's time we talk this hard fact. The political talk is too much. Let's begin to talk how we can build economic power. I cannot go to China and own a land. But a Chinese man will come to Kenya and own a portion of land. It's wrong. Because we don't have the money in our pockets. Let's use blockchain. We can change that. Assuming Kenya knew about Bitcoin in 2009 or even 12, and Kenya decided to invest only $10 million in Bitcoin and kept it to today. Do you know how much Kenya will have made today? And do you know how many people could have benefited from this? When I begin to talk about these things, sometimes I feel like crying. But these are reality. I feel sorry I'm saying certain things. I'm sorry. But this is a passion. We are driving, the mindset. We think that it's time, let's look inward. CubitX is using 3 approach. We are building the most powerful exchange in the world. The reason why we're trying to do this is simple. We are trying to do this so that we can create wealth in Africa. By Africans, owned by Africa. So when we started CubitX, the first thing, myself and my 2 other co-partners was like, there are 2 things that Africa we don't do. Everybody wants to be a chef, a boss, in a small corner. I'm the CEO of this, and he's struggling to raise $100,000. I'm a CEO of that, and he's struggling to even reach a cap of $10 million. What if we decide to now build on partnership and collaborations? I may have the idea, but I don't have the technical know-how. Why can't I tap into this man? Let's join hands together. So it is better for me to have 0.1% in $1 billion company than to have 100% in $1,000 company. It makes sense? So what we don't do in Africa is that everybody build in silos. So he's interested in just buying 1 Range Rover. He built 1 house. That's all he has achieved. We forget that achievement is not for yourself. You only achieve when you can able to transfer. So today, Steve Jobs is dead and gone, but Apple is a $1 trillion company. His soul is rejoicing. He has created wealth for America. Zuckerberg will die and go. So his inheritance will continue to be there. Amazon will die and go. The owner will die and go. But today it's not for him. It's for US. And therefore, America will continue to be, because they still control the technology. So the point is, this is a time for us to look outside Africa, within Africa, by Africans. Let's now say, in the next 50 years, we want to use blockchain by building on synergies. That's one principle of CubitX. So the first person we called upon, I came for a conference in Kenya somewhere in March, and once we started the idea, I said, guys, we are not going to do it. I'm a Ghanaian. We need to have a Ghanaian, a Nigerian, a Kenyan. Whatever you get, they come together and represent Africa. It's strong for African Union headquarters to be built by a Chinese country. It's strong. So the first thing we did, on a WhatsApp page, I posted, we need a CFO, a lady, we're biased, a woman. We don't care where the person comes from. So a wonderful lady responded, and then I said, send your CV. I don't know the person, I didn't know her. In fact, I didn't know her. Because the blockchain creates said what? Transparency and equity. So this wonderful lady sent her CV. We had a meeting with her, and immediately, please take up the CFO position. I only met her in South Africa last 2 weeks. Her name is Juliana Nwangi. Madam, please. Can you? So the CFO for QBitX is from Kenya, a Kenyan lady. If she becomes a billionaire, it's for Kenya and for Africa. That's our principle, and that's our philosophy. The second co-founder is from Angola. I didn't even know him on the internet. We're chatting. I said, sir, this is my plan. I want us to do it together. Let's join forces. He said, no problem, I'm on board. He's from Angola. The third person is also Nigerian, Victor Akuma. For him, I've known him for the past 3 years, and I can sleep and I know that this is what he'll say, because he's one of the most selfless persons I've met in my life. He's a co-founder, and we have several persons. We have people from South Africa. In fact, the CMO is a South African, and our wonderful Angle too is from South Africa. We have one guy from India. In fact, we have a Chinese man. We are global, even though we are trying to build for Africa, but we want to global. Now, second thing, after that, we now decided that we want to use 3 things. Using education, because of a lack of knowledge about this technology, that's why we don't adapt it earlier. So QBitX is going to use what we call education to drive knowledge. Once people know about it, they will adopt it. Once they adopt it, they'll put inclusion. So we are using QBitX to drive education for adoption and for what? Inclusion. Because we know that financial services in Africa, 50% of Africans, more than that don't have access to finance. And blockchain can do that. Because almost everybody in Africa today uses phone. Mobile phone penetration, according to International Mobile, you guys are IT people, every year, more than 50% penetration in Africa. So we can use blockchain. And in Nigeria alone, more than 100 million people use smartphone. And you cannot use smartphone if you are not on the internet. And the internet today, we know its value. So using blockchain with education, we create adoption, and then people will be include the farmer in the village. So QBitX is not just an exchange. Note this. We are creating the powerful exchange to do more than, like they said, more than 14 million transactions per second. As I speak, the fastest exchange in the world is called Binance. Last year, July 2017, Binance was created by young Chinese guys. The CEO is called CZ. Today, CZ Informal became a billionaire. Binance was conceptualized, came to being, they created their own token, sold the token for 0.11 cents, July last year. In 4 months, Binance hit $1 billion market cap. In 4 months. So if you and I, we heard about it, and we decided to invest just, let's say, $100,000, which most of you can do that easily. Today, your worth will have been $11 million. But Binance coin is about $14 as I speak. In fact, even when the market is going down, because it's an exchange that generates volume on itself, there's a use case. Because you use the token to pay their fees. So today, Binance, after becoming so successful, quickly knew that, do you know what they did? They didn't do a lot of announcements. They sold the token. In fact, they kept 40% of the token. They created 200 million token. They kept 40% to the developers and the founders. They gave 10% to early investors and advisors. And they only sold 50% to the market. So only 100 million was sold to the market quietly in China. So if today Binance is over $1.5 billion, where is that work going? China. But most Africans are using Binance to trade. Binance 2 months ago created a subsidiary in Uganda. Binance don't love Uganda. But they know that just like mobile phone started, Africa will not be part of it. So quickly, they are coming to tap into our market. In the next 2 years, you see Binance in Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, and we'll be so happy. Binance. It's not about how happy. Let's now look inward. Now we look at all these things and we decide to do something different. We are not in for the money. So we didn't just want to just come, we want to do this on paper. The past 8 months, we have done what we call internal test, internal development. So if you look at this team, this me, this one of our partners, this Julie, this our Chinese partner, this Victor. Now, there's a man here called Richard Gardner. Richard Gardner, he's the CEO of Modulus Global. Some of you are into financial services, you may know this company. Modulus is a US company. They have been in the system for the past 22 years. They've built financial service for Merrill Lynch, Barclays Capital, NASA, NASDAQ. In fact, as today, the NASDAQ stock exchange does 4 million transactions per second. It was built by Modulus. So when we're going through developers, Indians, we got quotation from India, Julie will attest to that. But we found out that no, we are Africans and we will have some challenge. What's the challenge? Oh, these African guys, they cannot do it. They come out with something mediocre, something that will not last. So we decided to invest in quality. So we found about Modulus and they were so expensive. When they put the budget down, so wow, this one, we can't do it. But something came, we'll go for Modulus for one reason. Quality and the impression I want to change, that nothing good can come from Africa. That's the narrative. So I wanted to change the narrative that Africa, we have the best brains, we have the best talents. It's just a matter of, can I do it? Can I be accepted? That's only the challenge. And we have passed that test. Our actually had to call AML, anti-market manipulation tool. Those of you who do trading, you know, I'm dumb. So few of us who don't have money, you go there and the waves. Our platform will have that anti-manipulating tool that you cannot manipulate, spoofing, wash trade, and all those things. It cannot happen. Governments also are afraid of tax evasion. This guy is called Victor. He works with PwC. He built Nigeria Tax Encyclopedia for Nigeria. So he's part of the team. Immediately the model started, he said, please, we want to be compliant. So can you, he designed the tax system and Modulus have incorporated that one into our exchange. So if we are QBTS in Kenya and you are trading our platform, you'll be happy to do that because you know that your government will have something called tax. So it can be used to develop our country and our continent. So our platform is compliant. Not only compliant, the platform is built such that there's no exchange in the world that have that language you are using. Modulus, Binance use C++, HitBTC and code use .NET and co. Our platform is using the newest technical language called Golang. IT guys, you understand Golang. And it's built on that platform. Ending my statement and my presentation is that QBTS is here to stay, to do something that has not been done in our space. We are not going to be an exchange where you just go and trade exchange, cryptocurrency. We are going to be the first crypto exchange to do multiple crypto fiats. And we are being very, very careful. So as you speak, we have QBTS in Zimbabwe. That's registered. We actually negotiate with the bank. If you're able to raise the money that we trying to raise, we are going to buy that bank to use it as the first crypto bank in Africa to do trade financing, remittances. The sad part is that Western Union so much dupe in Africa. I would say dupe. Why? Because if you are in Europe and you are sending money to somebody in the US, you pay less. But if you are sending money using Western Union to Africa, you pay more. Why? We can use our platform and you pay 90% lesser. So trade financing, remittances, and use cases to your country. So if you have QBTS in Kenya, which we are planning to have, the management of QBTS in Zimbabwe, Kenya will look at key areas where they can provide solution to, and then our platform can be configured to. They actually can do commodity trading, can do stock trading, can do anything because it's more hybrid exchange platform. So we are being very ambitious. But the first thing is the crypto exchange, which is a low-hanging fruit, so that we'll be able to create liquidity and then be able to implement all the plan that we have. Lastly, we have opened our ICO. We are creating a token called KBS token. Why creating a token? Because we know that Africa has so many challenges. So you pair KBS with shilling. We pair KBS with Naira. We pair KBS with TD. And we pair KBS with Rand. So that the influence of dollar in Africa will reduce. So our currency will have some power. Do you get it? So in all things that we are trying to do, we are trying to create an ecosystem where Africa is number one. Even though we are a target emerging market, but Africa is bigger market for us. And if you're able to achieve 10% market share of Africa, we'll be able to create more millionaires in Africa by Africans, owned by Africans. So this is the ultimate plan for us, so long as Africa and their economic issues are concerned, banking issues are concerned, financial instruments are concerned, and in terms of producing, not only consuming, is concerned. So I'm happy to be here today and to share our plan. Not only plan, we are doing our internal test on Monday. The exchange is already built. So we are not only here to sell you an idea. The exchange is built. Monday we are doing internal test. Throughout August, will be the beta test. The exchange is going live September. So you are at a very good position to acquire the KBS token, which we all know exchange tokens are unique because of the volume on the exchange. And knowing the area that we have mentioned, that we are going to, there are several use cases. Eventually, in the next 5 years, we are going to use the token to pay DSTV, electricity, in several African countries. As I speak, we are talking with one of the biggest financial gateway in Africa called InterSwitch. Very soon they'll be on board KBS. You can imagine the kind of traffic and the kind of use cases it will be. Thank you very much for being here, and I believe that as the program goes on, we can explore more. There's so much in KBS. Be part of the movement, be part of this day, so that you say the next 1 year, wow, I was part of this, and we created what for you. You are going to own a token. It's not going to be secret like people did last year. It's open to all. Let's own it in Africa. Thank you so much.